the theories and theories and summaries. I would include you inside of the all, maybe the all and all, for the beginning of the all until we end. And all theories will evolve from where they started off from. Any situation we can solve it because it started off as a problem, and maybe there was a probability, and maybe we have the intelligence and the ability to learn and figure something out when the find some doubt to execute it. Maybe we can write about it, we can read through the history. You can open up that book instead of looking at the cover, and cover up your words and look at the brother. Look at your sister, think of the planet, for the mother earth is down sick. There's no ICU, nobody's looking at her when she sees you. You're dependent upon her like she depends upon you. Give breath these trees for the carbon emissions, and maybe the false views will understand the ridicule. Where did they go? Nobody knew. Nobody had a trace besides this and feeling the energy that we can pace ourselves through this grace. Is it grace or is it you? Is it me for is it green? Is it grace or is it green? Is it green for the is it understanding that we are not papa in Spanish and eating the muscles of memory? Maybe they're wiping away and becoming obsolete. Maybe the way that we eat our nutrition from the inside out, and understanding that we are coming for the reason I am more than a season. I am changing right in front of you. You can feel me inside of your body. I want to tell you about somebody I know he died, or you'll for me, maybe for himself too, maybe for that spirit, for the Holy Ghost, hit them stars to the universal, maybe language, and I find a different Palladian every time I look to a mirror shadow inside the clouds. I maybe realize that this is more astounding than it sounds like. You're an ass and you're standing like one. Maybe the gun will put you in the hands of martial law, and they will send you back to your state of mind. For the enslavement was so hard to find, the crossing past the borderlines of the shores. The Native Americans is looking at you like there's more coming for you to be in Chicago. Maybe I got kind of go. Maybe you go. Maybe she's the shy. I ain't shy. Why you asking me? Look up this penis and hanging down to my knee. Why you looking at? And I'm at the arousal. Maybe in a session we'll find you erected. Maybe you can get wet. And I can open up that bed and place a bet. Bend you over high, looking over that mountain like the vision. You find that cave, that time to collapse. The God from the fountain of the eyes, brighten you, blurs to sing for the ringing of the sounds of heaven. Saw maybe the truth that you divide. This ain't the standing for the observation, baby. You cool crap inside of a fountain, buried between the ground. Even the burial funeral circles of the principles have worked, and these are the erotic stories of the maybe the engravings, the principles, the teachings, the understanding of God, the grieving, the weeping. These are just the examples for the definitions that you can find. Definitely a part of you, a part of me, a part of you, and the DNA too. And this is the understanding of you, involuntarily understanding you. I can't be your philosopher with the arguments, with this dialogue that you can ever stay alive with. Maybe the candidate that you can be a microscopic critic to hold yourself as a person that was inside of the Vedic article. You're the topic. These articles need to be described as used for the measurement of the little in me. On the cosmic scale, this is a phenomenon you can dispute. Maybe the optimism will lead you. Maybe allergic for the voluntary. You can find yourself in desperation there for the distinction relation to me and the original contribution to the prophecy is original as you was a fable, as a thorough. Maybe you can mock me. You would only support that. Tentatively understand it and compare it. Continue to make my knowledge, especially for the myth and the research and study, compared to those who guessing opinions and only rely and slip on the ground for the words that inspired you and to found it yourself with the article or media or research with the contribution of ignorance. And ideologies is for you to deal with the eyes, but no apologies. Understand that P now will don't have the third. The word to opening up of different dimensions and comparing your words. I am not amused or impressed, and I'm subjected to be strive for the ideas to take it farther than what you can ever bring me here. You gotta think about the kids and the understanding of these model models, or maybe such as to be dealing with the consequences if we don't fix them now. Let alone the education is corrupt. I will not be lost and stuck in contentment with this. Profound enough, I can find it myself, righty, recognize that the controversy is native and naive. Get your places where I could achieve, but this is the scientific system that became from the framework and hung at the wall for you to see. Unparalleled for the influence, it's only yours for the picture perfect. Maybe look at that reflection. It's a remembrance of the literal terms and sharp as enough with the picture, wording, wisdom. Foundation, political spirit for the inspiration for the Constitution is not the body by deeds and the statutes of the law. The adaptation for the classical thought that you could be through the systemic and comprehending. Greatly influenced for the subsequent, maybe subsidizing yourself in the elegant economists and commonly known as the communists. Communists, and maybe developing a dialectical scheme for the emphasization of the progressive and your ideas for the thesis to the antithesis for the thence you can find the syntax of ever with the voluntary for the greatest you can continue being created with the cursiding ass attitude. There's no formulation through this and here through a lot. Your mind and body and revolutionize to the capacity of your ears and comprehension. These are exponents and you can come inside and bring that enlightenment in. Skepticism will be conceived and here's we don't believe. Tiring figures like you can stand high enough. It's a lighthouse of the inquiry like looking for the shore, transforming and reforming your last interest into a logic. This is like the world apologetic, dominated like the world peace, dominated like the essence of you, dominating death with the music and ignorant. You be great this maybe the movement of force for the mood. You contribution to your position. Only sent you in the ordinary place of division. Drive yourself major influences your imperialists. Maybe teach themselves the attacking on yourself the logic and self with the paper and relic. Repentance and vigorously evolving into the different direction. Reference no longer exists by spirit. We will die. Listen to the words that metaphysics is determined that we should have learned when maybe the syllables apprehension is more the last opportunity before we went downhill. Foster care. Maybe the powers beyond their own. For this strings we broke understanding the heat. It's not too hard for the morning of the joy. In the design for the getting out the way for the brushes to work to clean the morning going in code for the duty was not here near. Here, fear the farm, fear the warm. Maybe you're the lamb for the little boy giving the same kind for the catechism. I mean himself for giving the side of the church and you know him. He made thee for calling on himself. Syllogism is simple enough, it's simplistic and creative. A child for the lamb, the same qualities inside that creation and their action for the nature and life further along the book. The first reading of the charades. Maybe the shepherds who find the spring born for the children of the isn't answering in the lily. The clouds who can be finding themselves in undernourishments. Love slow, entering your land unknown. Here's a voice, not sorrow. Who cannot hear but the closing of destruction for the glistening of an eye, for the poisoning of a smile, for the poem concluding with every frightening way that you can find a great shriek inside a visual perspective. Illuminated for the printing finding out yourself for the marriage in the heaven and hell. Who could become for the pros and proposition? For instance, you can find in yourself a parody seen in heaven with the memorable fancies of things and seen and heard in hell for the sections and proverbs and illusions, the energy, the lines as such. Eternal delight for the exuberance ability for the road of excess and leads into the place of wisdom with the work into you. With the song of liberty and justice for just all. Stormed off for the bastard like a bastard. Maybe the dawn for the longer. Curse for the same songs, the songs of joy for the living of the holy. For maybe he's coming back soon. Derangly, politically, maybe the bully and knowledge and title. Maybe the representation of the revelations is not the antichrist for the hating for the dignities. Apocalypse to transport the world for the slave grinding at the mind for the enslavement to the field. Looking at him, looking up into the heavens and laughing at the bright air. There's no place where you can find the empire no more. Now the line for the wolf shall cease for everything that lives in holy. Mental revolutions are seeming to be accomplished for the design of the triumphant or Trump. Donald concluding pages and shadowed and rejoicing and maybe the trees. Morning serpents and blinking designs. Reader the minds comprehending and meaning the work. Sometimes called the ancient days, for you could be naked as old man's and without a beard and sun defines to define the universe. A compass or something familiar with the image of God, you can find a notion about the deities that challenges on the brink of a cloud and change for the piled up on the flame, but the man that fired from this face came from the temple. The image was fine as a revolution could be. Heaven in a mighty circle turning to God for the crown. In a time and you feel the strife of the imagination that you came from this poem. The illustration to find some hero or be brave. Carrying the fainting woman for the neck. She is the burning to the burning cities. This is the experience showing yourself for the contrary. These are threatening plays for the unprotected toes of disparity. Speaker shown here to be the blind state behind the car, behind the voice, behind his phone, from inside of your band in the garage. Observations, every voice in the mind yourself to be forged with the monocles and the miracles of the miracles of innocence of just only sparing you, burning, showing you depicted and displayed for the colors of only mirage with here with the jungle, and you can find a beast, impressive as he is, enormous, revised for the rough. Finds for the myth, expand yourself, adding and those are reasonably amounted to be having a meaning, and maybe it be astounding and corresponding to your own nature, yourself and the temptations and maybe attempts. And this is the opening of the mortal eyes. The man has inward for the world's thought lost called thought into the eternity, and maybe exploding the blossom of God for the human imagination would never be an ending system. So maybe attempting the ideas of your paradise in this last events. Record yourself for the letters should this not be read through the beans between the lines like the spirit has come between the fine and alternative. Not seized for the mental fiber, we should short sleep inside a hand. And pleasant as it could be through the lineage, and we have prophecy. Disciples you can call themselves or supportive for your achievements, and the last thing you could find a serenity. The real to you to be the
What can she say?
what can she say? What doesn't make her feel scared of me and think that I feel violent? What hasn't everything already disappeared? For the midsummer has only come to the place where we already discovered that matrimony, it was phony. It was the places of understanding that we are only help for staying you to be sensitive for the resurrection. It's only here for the clearance. Open the wings and we must move here for the spirit to the epily. Protection for you to be the dreamer. I will scheme on your example for the facts of life, evoking yourself for the striving. Not everything making sense, but we. Who am I? This is a hymn, and this is the artistry. This is the songs of innocence. This is not your judgment. Who am I? Only here for the experience. Just like a little line for the new edition of this price. Christ, maybe the Jupiter images that will find the Understanding that we with myth, melodically can find some subtlety to the delicate beauty of the both lyrics, maybe the design, rare harmony in the pace with forms and transformation of the rhymes for this, for the nation, for the be the purest and understanding your technique, your place, your abandonment for you are not replying to the system with the words and his encouragement, indeed not to be printed in a place and remembering only for the limerick. These are visions of the songs of experience and representation of the innocent, for you can have the current situation discussed from inside of your place and spread in your arm rings and threaten not to understand the disparity. And this is the place where you can find all these and find the lack of ambition and maybe the engraved inside of the designing of the face, observations of the voice, and you can find that innocent lamb to speak enormously rise and find the myths and maybe the adding of yourself into demise and harmony is destroyed when each of them attempt to fix this creation in the form of corresponding to the unnature geniusness. You're the purpose, the great task, not to clean up crew for the embers of the worldly thought, for the eternity expanding, for the blossom of a God, for the human imagination traveling from a system another from the man's idea, for the paradise and commonly misinterpreted, for you could be the anthem. I will not cease for the mental fight for my shell sword, stay street sharp, enough to have enough to build Jerusalem a new land. This production is only filled with the botanists and commissioned to you to be organically reflecting all of the support, all of the achievements, and all of the execution that you could find fashionably suited enough to afford the tools. May God make this world to you the child the beautiful has been to me. Died for the cramping of you as a disciple. You burn the eyes and you can burst out and sing for the heavens and saw the truth and die like a saint. But the person who was standing by him, he observed too. And maybe the world for the nonconformists and give it the beautiful ways and furs and service for inspiration. Maybe this is a drawing for the understanding that we are all going, for the view, for the place, for the heart, for the understanding, only the unfortunate, for the obituary. It was never some place that we can afford, for the picturing of your concentration on that, for the printing of your name on top of the cement. Maybe that you carried yourself away for the influence of the floodgates, but you can consider the major change massive enough to find some 3-volume extensive illustrated for the introduction of you to be here for the public and not be here too private for the often seriously corrupt. Maybe the misread, maybe the facts and invented for the continuation is only finding yourself. Fiction as your jurisdiction that you can lie placed in and position to find you a thinker, endless fascination trace with the words and diverse as it may seem, formidable as a dream for the understanding that we are the impact thinker world, the music and we're standing like not we're doing eliminating with you the delicate attaining all of the original sense standing your brain. Maybe this song is a color, the collections of your song can breathe words like a rainbow I compose. Maybe this the love that shine for the in the dimensions will have a prison profound to the silence and allow and find extraordinary. The prince, maybe the vibrations will simply contain yourself. For I can add up and find yourself in every word. I believe to you to be possessed with the originality to find some merit for the respite for the oblivious ways that way can be combined in expectation. Not maybe leave the paces. Maybe you can have the strength and intelligence to leave the patterns and not be lost, uncut for the obsession. What can she say? What can she say? What